Hi, I'm John Sauve, and this is Art and Design. Today, our guest is Sallie Pasquinelli. Sallie, how are you doing today?
Fine, in spite of the weather. It's so awful here, it's unbelievable.
Well, it seems to be the same thing every day. It's May. It's supposed to snow.
It's awful out. But it's nice in.
Well, Sallie, I wanted to talk to you today about you and your career in the art world. When did you get started in the arts?
When I was very, very young, 4 or 5 years old, um, I lived with my grandparents in De Pere, Wisconsin on the Fox River. And I grew up, my uncle and I, in the middle of nowhere, really, out in the country, and we were always looking for things to do. And one of the things we discovered was clay out of the bank of the river. So we'd go down and get the clay and bring it back up and start with that. Uh, I spent years living with them uh, out in the country without other children. And so I found things to do by myself, um, art projects, it turns out. But I learned how to wood burn and how to do tin soldiers and just on of what children can do. And so I carried that through the rest of my life, that I would find things that interested me, and then I would make them mine. And so I've gotten into what I call found objects. Uh, well, I should back up. I helped found an art studio in Flossmoor, Illinois, south of Chicago, and it lasted for 50 years. And what was really wonderful about it was that in those days, women were home. They weren't working, most families. And we had the best artists in the area. We had as many as 45 members. And what was so incredible about this place was for $25 a month, you had studio space to come and work and to be with other artists. And I thought what was really most valuable about the place was the critique. We worked together, very congenial people. We loved being together. But when we were done working on a day, we would line our work up and talk about it. And so it got to a point that we could say to a particular friend or artist there, um, I can't figure this out. There's something, it doesn't read right. And so we would discuss it, and we learned a great deal from each other. And we all spent time volunteering to teach things that we knew about. I taught collage, ceramic masks, and that's how I got into this crazy found object thing. And so in this show that we're going to have here, my granddaughter does found objects. And so uh, my family, my sister is far more talented than I am. And she was copying other people's artwork. She said, "Oh, look, I can paint. It looks just like so and so." And I said, "Will you stop copying and get in your head and do things?" And she is just phenomenal now with found objects. So anyway, it's so much a part of my life. Uh, my husband was on the road all the years when we raised our 4 children, and I needed something to do, and I did artwork, and it was my salvation. That it gave me peace, and the creativity, I think, is very satisfying. Anyway, that's what I did.
Well, Sallie, you mentioned that you have an upcoming show. Can you tell us about it?
May 27th, 4 to 7 here at the gallery, Anna Russo's gallery in Benton Harbor. I have my work, my sister's work that I just spoke of, my daughter's work, and 2 granddaughters. We've all done artwork. The 2 youngest are in their 20s, and one has studied at the Art Institute, a graduate, and is still learning. And we're all doing a show together. I was going to have it all by myself. And then I thought, these young people need to have someone come and pat them on the shoulder a little bit and say, you're just doing great work, and keep going. Because today, with women working, and it's not like when I did it. I had all the time in the world to devote to my work, but they don't. So everyone will have a chance to see what a family does.
Well, on that note, you mentioned that it's your sister, your daughter, and your 2 granddaughters. What's the name of the show?
I had called it Art That's Relative.
Kind of makes sense.
I thought so.
And so what kind of work can we expect from your sister, daughter, and grandkids?
My sister, with the found objects, finds an old chandelier, an old brass chandelier, turns it upside down, or I bought one of her pieces, and then she does a sculpture, bust, about life size, and incorporates this. I have a bust of a Chinese woman, and she's got a headdress, an old brass, whatever it was, and she does this, she adds this, she finds it actually first, and then develops the figure under it by what calls to her from the piece she's found. So that's what she'll have in the show. My daughter, a most creative person that I think I've ever known. She's made Christmas trees and sold them out of cardboard, and sold them on eBay, over 500 of them. She makes dolls for children. Right now she's beading, and she, at the turn of the century, there were beaded bags that women carried about that big. And she is fascinated by them and has a wall full of them, and decided to try and duplicate her version, and that'll be there. And she does glass cases that are they're so beautiful. The younger 2, one is a painter. She's fantasy is what drives her. She does some of these figures that you just can't imagine, of like make-believe people that she creates. The other one, the Art Institute graduate, paints portraits, and she said that wasn't enough for her. And so she started learning how to cast bronze. And so she's going to have those pieces in. And she's done some sculptures, not out of clay like I do, but out of cement, totally foreign to me. But they're about 3 feet, the faces. And we all, thank God, don't copy one another. We're all able to express ourselves. And I think that alone, if we never sell our work, is valuable. because I think today, and particularly women, don't get a chance to be seen, to participate enough, and to be included. So I like that they are able to do this.
Well, Sallie, one of the things you mentioned your early time with the arts, but what can we expect of your art for this show?
Well, I've been all over the place with my artwork. And right now I've settled into a couple of things. I sewed my own clothes for years. And I took that technique and tried to transform paper into clothing. And I bought Japanese paper, which has a body, that a fiber body, so that you can bend it and manipulate it. And I cut it up and I made patchwork. Then I made material out of patchwork paper. And then I cut patterns and I made jackets out of it. So I'll have a couple of those. And then I do clock cases, turn of the century clocks that the big, well, they were usually pine, probably a foot and a half tall. And usually the fronts were so Baroque and wonderful. And I have done about 10, 12 of those. And I take the clock out, and then I use that space to shelter different pieces, different ideas I have. I did one of my granddaughter dancing in her flower bed, and it's each one. I look at the clock and I think, this is like this. And my latest one that I just finished for this show was a complete departure. I got watch pieces, gears out of little springs and things out of the watch, and put them in and mirrored them. And so that when you look in, they reflect out. I hope it's successful. I thought so.
Well, I think it can only be successful from everything you've told us so far. And one of the things about your personal story and the show that you have coming up is the importance of an art center in a community. And being that you started the one over 50 years ago and you're showing in one with your whole family, I think it's exciting. And it's a lineage that you're a part of.
Well, I tell you, that art center we had lasted 55 years. I couldn't believe it. But we owned a building in the community for years. And as I say, women had key. They could come, and anytime it was open, people came. We had shows. We gave children's lessons. So joining Anna here, I'm interested also in helping her work with the kids in the community. I think that's very, very important.
Especially today.
More than especially. Yeah. Oh, Lord.
Mm-hmm. Well, your show, again, this is where I put a shameless plug in. What are the details again? So everybody who's interested can find out more.
May 27th, at what, Anna?
ARS Gallery.
ARS Gallery in Benton Harbor, May 27th, 4 to 7. And it's the weekend is a holiday. So if people have a destination in mind, this wouldn't be a better place to go.
Yeah, between everything that Benton Harbor has to offer and a Memorial Weekend, and then your show on top of it all, I think that's the perfect weekend getaway. So, and again, it's going to be called what's the name of the show again? Art that's relative, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And it's 3 generations of your family showing, and some extensions off of that. This show, how did it all come about?
since I left my art studio, no one saw my work anymore. And then we moved into a retirement community in Chicago. And they have an art, excuse me, they have an art section that the members of that community can show. And I have put several of my paper jackets in, and I received such a nice response. And I thought, people do enjoy seeing artwork, and this is so accessible that I'd like to see then a show like this where everybody can wander in and enjoy it and relate to it. Art and having all the different techniques in one show. You learn something and respond to different things. So I thought this is great. Everybody can come and enjoy what they enjoy. I hope it's successful.
Well, I think it already is. You're able to get your whole family together to put a show together. That alone is successful. And then to have the ability to show in a community arts center that does so much for the Benton Harbor St. Joe community, I think it's going to be a great addition to what ARS is already doing for the community. And having you and your family on exhibit for art that's relative, this is great. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Now, this is also, again, you mentioned Memorial Weekend in the afternoon on Saturday. And what can I know there's entertainment. I know that you've got 3 generations of your family exhibiting, and the work, you can also find out more about this at ARS Gallery online. If you just type that in, it shows up right away. And I know you can find it on the Facebook page for ARS Gallery as well. So just want to make sure people know where they can find out more about your exhibit. And then the other thing is, I know that this is going to be up. How long will it be up?
Through the 1st of August.
1st of August.
So the whole summer, you can find it at ARS Gallery, Art That Is Relative. And I'm looking forward to seeing your work when it's up, Sallie.
Thank you.
Sallie, now, one of the things that I wanted to mention too, you had the previous community gallery that you've had 55 years. So what did you start when you were 5?
I just, as I said, I grew up in the country alone with my grandparents, and we just needed things to do. There weren't movies to run to. We're 2 miles out in the country. So we just learned to take what was there and entertain ourselves. Unlike today, where the children never get away from the phone or the television, we got up and we were outside and we were doing. And so one thing leads to another. It's like artwork. People say, oh, well, I just don't have any feeling to get started. And if you start even with the most mundane way, start doing what you love, ideas come to you, and pretty soon there isn't enough time even to do the things you want to create, to make them. It's very important to begin, even at any level, just start. Like piano, like anything. And the more you do it, the better you get, the more you enjoy, and then other people can enjoy what you do too, and you get them busy. When we were raising children and had a small home, I had neighbors come in and I taught them how to make clay pots and things. But you see, this is a different world that I'm having trouble accepting because everyone just works. And I just find it so important to find your place in it, that you can express yourself. And anyway.
Well, so when do you start teaching classes at ARS Gallery? It sounds like you fit right in over there with the theme of giving back to the community.
I'm what you call a transient. We live 6 months in Chicago, a retirement community, and then we live here. Unfortunately, it's not 3 months in a row or anything. It's I'm here 4 days, and then next time I'm here 2 days, and then I'm here a week. So, but I do intend to get involved, as I really always have been. So I think if more people get involved, we'd have fewer problems with each other. I think we're all afraid of the unknown. And if you know people and start doing things with them, you find out how wonderful they are. So I look forward to, in fact, coming here during a pandemic. There's a restaurateur here that we met, and he has a crazy mix of kids working there, young people. And I have learned so much by being involved with them. These
Mason jar.
Yeah, the mason jar. If it weren't for us, we would have had a terrible, terrible 2 years. But we go there, and these, I call them kids, I'm 90, are, waiting tables, and you get involved talking with them. And it's a wonderful expression. That's not the word. It's just good to know more people than just the ones that live where you live. And I found that out. I love this community.
Mason jars doing our food for the reception.
Oh, and she said Mason jars doing our food for the reception.
Sounds appropriate. Yeah. Well, in the exchange that you've had there, you're sharing with others with your upcoming show. So it's exciting. And Sallie, I have to put one more plug in. It's Memorial Weekend, Saturday from 4 to 7 at ARS Gallery.
Yep. Come,
Wow.
you'll enjoy it.
And it's art that is relative. Well, I am looking forward to it. I'm hoping to be able to get over and meet you and see the show. And I think you're the bonus round, because just the exchange we've had today and what you have to share, I think people can only leave with an upbeat and positive outlook after getting a chance to talk to you and your daughter and granddaughter. So I am looking forward to the show. Art that is relative, Memorial Weekend.
Relative. 21 in our family get together twice a year. Family is so important.
Well, this is just one more excuse. I see how you got this worked. You're saving having to host it at your house. You're having a show so you can have everyone over. That's great.
We do. It's important.
Well, Sallie, thanks for coming on the Art and Design Show. And I encourage everyone to come and see your upcoming exhibit. And they can find out more at the website. And we'll have that listed below. So I am happy to have you on the show and looking forward to what you have coming up on Memorial Weekend. Thank you.
Thank you very much.